Hi children, I hope you have seen my previous video of class 7 English-1 grammar that contained your lesson number 1 sentences. Like I said in that chapter, you go through the video 2-3 times and then you solve the exercises. Whatever you do not understand, note it down and then you can ask your teachers when you meet in the new session. Children, we are going to start your lesson number 2, that is subject and predicate. Before we understand subject and predicate, you need to understand that the sentence will have subject and a predicate. You know what the sentences are? Sentences are not just jumbled words, they contain words which make complete sense. But the definition of a sentence is it will always have a subject and a predicate. Now, the subject and predicate you have been learning for the past 3-4 years. We are just going to look into detail. What are subjects and what are predicates? Subject will always be a noun and predicate will always contain verb. We are going to see in detail through the
Children, this is your lesson number 2. See here, uh, this is your chapter, subject and predicate. Now, this is a simple sentence, expresses a complete thought and has a subject and a predicate. Remember, as I told you, a sentence will have a subject and a predicate. Now, what does the subject contain? The subject tells you whom or what is the sentence about. And remember, the subject will always have a noun in it. That's a must. Now, the example is given here. The students are taking notes. Now, we are going to see what the predicate is about. The predicate tells us what the subject does or what does it contain. It will be having verb in it. Verb is a must in a predicate. Remember this. Examples in this example, all the children eat the cake. So eat the cake is the predicate. Now we are going to see what is a complete subject. Complete subject meaning all the words that are in the subject. That is, see the example here, that is the student. This is complete subject. But when I talk about only student, that is the main subject. Now come down and let us see the example of complete predicate and simple predicate. Complete predicate is all the words in the predicate. That meaning is eat the cake. That is the complete predicate. But when we talk about only simple predicate, that is the verb eat. That is the only predicate.
So children, you have seen the subject and the predicate in the slide which I had shown you. Now it is very important for you to understand what the subject and the predicate is. Remember, subject will always be having a noun on which the action might be done or that noun will be doing the action. Second part of the sentence, that is the predicate, will always have a verb in it. And you have to identify what the verb is in a sentence. Once you identify the verb, the portion before the verb will be the subject. This if you understood, then understanding the predicate and the subject will be very simple to you. Now, what I am advising is you go through the video 2-3 times, understand the concept of subject and predicate, and then you see the worksheet which I have attached to it. Before solving the worksheet, there is one warm-up exercise in the slides which I had shown you. Try to solve the warm-up exercise by writing suitable subjects in it. Answers are given there. You do not copy that answer. Be honest with yourself. Don't write that answer which is given there in the slide. You write your own answers and you keep it with you. Once you solve the exercise, it will be easier for you to understand the next slide which I am going to explain, which will be containing compound subjects. It is not necessary that one sentence will have only one subject. Very many sentences will have more than one subject. For example, I am giving you Rahul and Seema are going together on a holiday. So Rahul and Seema both are subject. It is possible that a sentence might have more than one predicate, but that we will see in our next video. In this video, now you will be understanding the different types of subject. So you concentrate now on my next slide.
Now, moving down to your chapter, this is the warm-up exercise given here. This warm-up exercise is having all the predicates. These are all the predicates given here. You have to add suitable subject. The answer is given here, but you try to write your own answers because this is your book exercise. All right. Now this is the exercise which you have to solve. You will write here subject, suitable subjects for the predicates given here. Then you see the definition. Every sentence has a subject and a predicate. The subject tells us who or what the sentence is about. The predicate tells us more about the subject. That means the subject will be telling you what the sentence contains, and the action what is the subject is doing, that will be the predicate. Let us see some kinds of subject. A sentence can have one subject or more than one. It does not necessarily mean that a sentence will have only one subject. It could be having one or more than one subject. See the example here. A subject can be just a single word. Jayashree laughed. Or it could be a noun or a pronoun. It barked. Second, we're moving down to the second point. A subject can be a phrase containing a noun, article, or modifiers. For example, it can be the whole half of the sentence, that is, all the students in the class. This whole is a subject in this particular sentence. That new boy in the class. This contains articles, modifiers, also along with the noun. So all the students in the class and the new boy in the class is the subject in these two examples. Moving down to the third point. A subject can be two or more noun, pronoun, or noun phrases. It can contain noun phrases also. Noun phrase we have studied last year. It will have a phrase which has a noun. That will be a noun phrase that may be joined by conjunctions such as and, not only, but also both, and, neither nor, either or. For example, see here. Chocolate and pista kulfi are my two favorite flavors of ice cream. In this example, chocolate and pista kulfi. So chocolate, pista kulfi, these two are subject attached by and, that is the conjunction, and it's a phrase, noun phrase. Then look at the second example. Both the players and the officials were honored for their performance. The players, the officials. These are the two subjects in this multiple subject. They are combined with both and. So this is the noun phrase. Then when a subject sentence has two or more subject, we call the subject a compound compound subject. A compound subject when it has two or more subjects. For example, subjects in different sentence structure. The subject performs the action. Rohit wrote a letter. The puppy chewed up the sock. In this sentence, Rohit is writing the letter, and in this sentence, the puppy is chewing the sock. So action is done by Rohit, and in this sentence, action is done by the puppy. Then the subject is described. The description of the subject. The kitten is naughty, and Pawan is intelligent. That means these sentences are qualifying the subject. It is describing the quality of the subject. Kitten is naughty, Pawan is intelligent. In the third example, subject is acted upon. The action is being done on the subject. The victim was taken to the hospital. The action is being done on the subject, victim. Second example, she was attacked by a bear. So she was attacked. That means action was done on the subject. These are the three types we have seen. How will you spot a subject in a sentence? To identify the subject in a sentence, we should identify the verb. So remember this, before you identify a sentence, subject in a sentence, you first identify the verb. That is most important. Because once the verb is identified, we will ask the question who or what is doing the action. Every sentence will have a verb. A complete sentence will have a verb. If you have seen my previous video, it will be clear to you that every sentence will have a verb. So when the verb is identified, it will be easier for you to identify the subject because the question will be who is doing the action, and the verb definition is action words. Let us learn to identify the subject in different kinds of sentences. First is declarative sentence. In declarative sentences, the subject usually appears before the verb. In a declarative and assertive sentence, we have seen what are declarative sentence in the previous video. So in declarative sentence, the subject will be before the verb. Now see here. The example is the puppy bit the postman's ankle. The puppy has bitten the ankle of the postman. So bit is the verb here. Bit is the verb. You have identified the verb. So who is doing the action? The puppy. So the puppy is the subject. In the second example, jumped is the verb. And now jumped is a verb. Who is doing the action? The horse. So the horse is the subject. So now children, we have spotted the subject, and you know that the predicate will always be carrying a verb. So to further make you understand the subject and the predicate, we are going to solve this worksheet. This is subject and predicate, and the directions are given here for this worksheet. In this, you have to color the subject in blue and the predicate with red pen and subject with the blue pen. So these are overall, these examples are given here. See this here. There are 10 examples given here. What you are going to do is you will color the subject in blue and the predicate in red. And then I will see you in my next class, and we will continue the subject and predicate in that next video.
I hope children you have understood this video about subject and predicate. This is not complete. I have just given you a detail about the subject and the predicate, but we are going to continue with our chapter in the next video. But I have explained whatever I have explained. There is one worksheet attached to it, and it is very easier for you. You will find it very interesting. You solve that worksheet, and whatever doubts you are having, again I am repeating, note it down and you can clear it out with your teachers when you meet in the next new session.